Everybody, it's Hulk and Hyde, and I'm back with the Desert Wolf versus Loka Senate campaign, January 20th, 1942. Hmm. Oh. I kind of expected this. I mentioned this in the last video, that it might be worthwhile for Desert Wolf to risk this ship to try to get as much supply off as possible. This looks like another bombardment task force, so this thing's dead. Completely dead. Right. It sunk, but it was only worth a few points, and every point of supply that it gets off was worthwhile. Hmm. 4 torpedoes shot at that. Hmm. There's so many subs in the band to see, it's crazy. And in this deep water, these escorts can't hurt these guys. Depth charges don't go deep enough. Oh, here's your bombardment. This particular one doesn't turn out so great. Not much is hit there. Man, all these subs, man. Ugh. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. That's an AKE. These are super valuable ships. Now, this one is one that Loka has converted from one of his AKs. He turned it into an ammunition ship, and he's trying to resupply his ships down here with this ammunition, but he's got to thread this needle and get through all these subs to do it, and one torpedo, that thing's done for. Okay, it looks like he's finally going for a Makassar here. And these are just fast transports, looks like. He's really trying to police up these dot bases now. Yep, we get it. So it looks like 4 landings this turn. Ooh, SPD Dauntless, huh? Uh-oh. That's not good. Guys, I think the American carriers are in action now. So he's got all of these Bettys and Nells doing ground attack. If only he knew that the carriers were close, he would have had them on naval attack, and now they're going to miss out. Ooh, that's a nice hit. Look at that. Man. There he's going for Madon again. He's really trying to take that place out. Good hits. Man, it's tough to see all these Nels and Bettys on ground attack when there's something better they could be doing. But how could he know, right? Ouch. Oh, here it comes, guys. Oh boy. That's a lot of aircraft. What are they going after? Oh, nice. That thing's dead. Oh, oi. Okay. Oh, man. Yeah, these little Japanese light cruisers can't take many of these. Yeah, that's done. That's dead. Man, these Devastators can't hit anything. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, good night. These TBDs haven't hit anything. Those splashes mean the torpedoes miss. But that didn't miss. Ooh-wee. That was a bad one. All right. So my guess is that all of these ships are going to sink. The only thing that's going to survive is the Yugiri. And these guys have some sort of troops aboard. Why that is, I don't know. I guess this is a fast transport task force. Where they were going, I don't know. But they're not going anywhere now. Bummer, that was the only raid we got? Oh, man, I was hoping we'd get a little more out of that. Hambor. All right, let's try here again, see how this turns out. Nothing. Nothing. Surely he can break through here. I think he can get through here now. Yeah, he got through. Finally. Alright. Oh, well. That's not exactly the direction I would have wanted them to retreat, but they can't go this way and they can't go that way, so they can either go that way or that way. And it's a victory nonetheless. The Japanese really need one. Oh, look at that. Bombarding now. Look at his divisions, guys. These guys are trashed. If he's not careful, the Japanese might even... I mean, these guys could even counterattack and maybe push him back. That's so weak. Look at that. There's hardly anything left of these divisions. I would counterattack. I would counterattack. I think he could win that. These guys are so disrupted and banged up from that last thing. I bet you if they attacked, it would really bleed them down. Okay, so it's an infantry regiment there. Oof. I don't like this. This is not a very smart thing to do. This thing is a third of basically a third of or a piece of a regiment. It's in and of itself is not very powerful. The first thing I do in my campaigns is quickly recombine this to make the regiment. Because this thing is going to get chewed up in open combat. Oh, this was not a great turn for the Japanese at all. Okay, let's take a look at this turn here. Aircraft losses today. 2 for the Allies, 7 for the Japanese. That's pretty impressive that we launched a carrier raid and only lost 1 aircraft from ops. Ship sunk. The only thing reported is the Mamba, which was sunk at Horn Island, which we saw, and the Sazanami, which is a Fubuki Flight 2, which is pretty decent destroyers. I'm pretty sure that sank, and I think another destroyer and 2 other light cruisers either sank or will sink from all the battle damage they took. Okay, let's take a look in China. You can kind of see that a front line is starting to really formulate here. If you follow my cursor, it's kind of coming down this way. It's kind of a solid Japanese line, but I'll tell you what, guys, this stacking limit stuff, I don't think I could ever do it. It's so slow in ground combat, and I get it. This is going to be good for the Japanese later in the war when the Allies are counterattacking, but for now, I can't deal with it because in my campaign at this time, January, 21st now, I was already in Lanshao, I think. I was already on the way down towards Kianko, something like that, and he's nowhere close to that, and I don't know that he'll ever get there at this rate. This stacking limit stuff is no good. Not for me. Okay, Burma's quiet. Let's go ahead and get down to the grand finale here. The Allied carrier raid on this part of the Strait of Malacca and northern Sumatra. So here it is. These guys full sped in, okay? Presumably from where this AO's at right here. That's about 16 hexes, which makes sense for a full speed run. And they deployed, and unfortunately they only went for this task force here and not for this one. I don't know really why that is. This thing looked really juicy. But still, we picked off some good ships here. Alright. So the Japanese didn't see this coming, and you can tell that's the case because the Nels and Bettys that are presumably flying out of Kotobaru were doing ground attack this turn. If he knew that carriers were coming in, he would have had these guys set up to do torpedo attacks and have 0 escort, and we didn't see that. So my guess now is that Desert Wolf is going to fall back and get out of range of those things because they can be escorted up to a range of 14 hexes away. Anything after that, they have to go in by themselves. And I don't think that Loka would be dumb enough to send unescorted Nels and Bettys at these carriers with the cap being what it is. So he'll get out of the way here. And we also have a surface combat task force sitting here that may try to move in here, or actually maybe not. No, it's not going to move in there because they're going to be susceptible to Nell and Betty strikes themselves. So I guess he's going to let these guys get away. These guys will probably head over the top and come down this way and not try to go around the south because there's mines here. Loka probably knows that. And the farther south you go, the farther away you're going to get from any kind of cap protection. But a good raid for the Allied carriers, but I think it's time for them to fall back and regroup and just be a fleet and being out here, right? So until further notice, the carriers are going to be here. And Loka knows they're going to be hanging out here. And he can't really move. He can't move anywhere without the risk of them hopping in here. And that's really crappy. He's going to have to bring his carriers, the Kido Butai, over here to deal with this. And until then, he's just kind of pinned down by the threat of an Allied carrier raid coming in at any moment. That's tough. All right, let's talk about Philippines here. I personally think that the Japanese are in a vulnerable position right now. They have no armored regiments. They're heavily disrupted from a failed attack last turn, and they're split into thirds. I honestly think that if the Allied counterattack here, they would be successful in inflicting a lot of losses. And they have 2 really decent armored regiments or battalions here, right? With these M3 Stuarts. These guys can slice and dice really nice. Yeah, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. They can slice and dice infantry pretty good. So I really think that a counterattack here may bear fruit, but we also have these troops coming in from Iba. I just now looked at that. We don't really know what they consist of, and they could easily get in here and reinforce that. So on second thought, maybe an attack isn't the best idea, especially with these guys coming in, but it sure looks juicy, doesn't it? Look at all these subs, guys. Look at them all. Jeez. Okay. The Japanese landed at Makassar with a third of a regiment, and personally, I would never do that. I take those thirds and I quickly recombine them and make them into the full regiment because these sub units just don't fight well. And I don't think he brought enough here. Like, this unit should be able to hold out for a little while. It's not great. All right, so the Japanese hit Horn Island last turn, didn't do a whole lot of damage. And I see something strange here. What is this? Why do we have P-40s here? Charters Towers. Huh. I can't tell if they're going in or coming out, but there's some P-40s here doing something. We'll watch this to see if this increases. Damage on the base is still pretty high on the port. No fort building, but that ship that sank, the Mamba, did get quite a bit of supply off before that happened. I don't know what the long-term goal is here, guys. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see. We can take a look at SIGINT here and see if we see anything good. 52nd. Ooh, I think we need to start looking at this more. 52nd Division is loaded on a Houston N cargo class moving to Babel. So he's bringing a division to Babel. What else? That's all I see. Anyway, nothing else really happening out here. It's pretty silent in the South Pacific. I feel like the Japanese invasion or attempts out here just kind of got squashed by the carriers being here. And I don't know what his long-term plan is. Right now, I feel like Kido Butai needs to head out here to the into the Dutch East Indies to deal with the carrier threat. But as long as the carriers are here, that means that they're open to being counterattacked down here and or just making no further progress out here. This is a really tough game for the Japanese right now. Again, it's tough because of a combination of Desert Will being just so dang good and Loka just not making the best decisions as a Japanese player. Now, he never claimed to be a Japanese expert from the get-go. He's an Allied player for the most part, but he's put himself in a very precarious situation, and I would not want to be in it. That's all I got, guys. We'll see what happens next turn with these carriers and what happens with the rest of this, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.